Welcome to Art Angel. This is Art of Motivating. Today is Wednesday, 28 August 2024, and we are looking at the topic Persevere. This is Persevere Part 2. We said persevere has to do with persistent, relentless movement toward a goal despite obstacles. To persist, even if you are obstructed. Yes, this is Persevere Part 2. How are you? It's a hot sunny day in Trinidad and Tobago. I am sending love to you from this country nestled in the Caribbean. I'm hoping that you are well. I am trusting that you are persevering towards your goal despite obstacles. Even if you are obstructed, persevere. Someone once told me, Angel, you don't have to study so hard to pass a subject or a course so doggedly. So doggedly, I thought within my mind, doggedly, she says, I smiled at the person, paused for a brief moment, then I went right back to what I was writing in order to pass my course or my subject. That brief moment was taken to do an introspection or self-examination. When I introspected, I quickly realized that the person who had spoken had internalized my state of mind. That person had internalized my state of affairs. That person had done an introspection on me before making the suggestion. They had sat for weeks and months and observed me, analyzed me, imagined that they knew me and what I was about. And then they had made, in all probability, the well-intentioned suggestion. I took note of the suggestion, but I ignored it. Yes, I ignored it. Now, I am not saying that we should just ignore the suggestions, the well-intentioned advice of others. No, that's not what I am saying. But I am saying, as we persevere toward our goal or towards our goals, sometimes we need to ignore the suggestions made by others who imagine that they know us. Throughout this series, this is a 3-part series, Persevere, I will be discussing, as I initially mentioned in part 1, I will be making references to the 5 W's and the H. Who, what, which, when, why, and how. So I've come to my first W, why. After I took note of the suggestion and I ignored it, you might be wondering, why? Why did I ignore it? I quickly resolved that I was okay. I was okay with the notion of being labeled a dogged pursuer. Yes, I was okay with being viewed as doggedly or stubbornly persisting to pass my course. I had concluded within my mind that it was okay, in other words, for me to persevere, because we are saying to persevere is to stubbornly and relentlessly persist and pursue whatever we are aiming for. So it was okay for me to doggedly pursue my course, on my course, in my journey of this life. While every well-intentioned suggestion or advice tend to have a grain of truth in it, we must weigh and evaluate who we are. There's another W. Who we are. Who am I? Who are you? What are you pursuing? What suggestions are being made to you? What advice is being given to you that you have to weigh and sift and accept that while there might be a grain of truth in it, I may have to ignore this in order to pursue, doggedly pursue. Who are we? When we weigh and evaluate, we ask ourselves, who am I? What am I aiming to achieve? Another W again. What? What am I aiming to achieve? So when we play these suggestions and advice that people give us over in our minds, we analyze, we assess, we sniff it out, we weigh it out, we sort it out, we think it out, we believe it out, and we ask ourselves, who are we and what are we trying to accomplish? We do this in order to decide if the grain of truth will cause us to return inside the box. Because that's what the grain of truth often does. While the advice and suggestions may be well-intentioned and often has a grain of truth in them, that grain of truth in those suggestions, in those ideas that people try to slip into our minds as we pursue our goals, sometimes they cause us to return inside the box, in our old mental pattern of thinking and beliefs where we are limited, where we feel a state of helplessness at times, where we feel trapped, where we feel stuck, where we are sometimes fixated, where we are sometimes stunted. The grain of truth, it's a grain of truth, yes. But sometimes we may have to ignore it in order to continue to live outside the box. Outside the box, in that state of creativity, of newness, of openness. Of course, we are taking all of this within context, within the context. We have developed our minds enough now to know that living inside the box, or living in that familiar place in our minds where we limit our thoughts and beliefs, even to the state of self-imposed helplessness at times, as I previously said, it does not help us. It does not help us regarding our personal development. This is why we have to become firm and fixed and determined to sift and weigh and sort the advice that is being given to us. Weigh my advice. I am giving you advice today. I am motivating and encouraging you to persevere towards your goals. I am saying sometimes you may have to ignore the suggestions or ideas that people are trying to plant inside of your mind if it is not conducive to your personal growth. As we choose to do our introspection, many grains of truth will occur. Many grain of truth moments will occur. We will have these moments where we are continuously bombarded with information, ideas, suggestions, advice, well-intentioned often, yes? And we will have these grain of truth moments. It is noteworthy, however, that truth often depicts reality. We have the grain of truth, but our truth comes up to fight with the grain of truth that is coming from outside, from the crowd, from those who are looking on, from those who are doing an introspection on us. Our truth comes up and there's a fight, a conflict occurs. The grain of truth comes and our truth stands, and there's a wrestling occurring within our minds. As we sort, we sift, we analyze, as we try to hold our ground, as we try to stay outside the box. Now, I am saying that truth depicts reality. Our truth depicts reality. My truth today is not your truth. My truth is different from your truth. What is true for me today may not be true for me tomorrow. What is true for you today may change tomorrow. What was true for you yesterday, what was true for you a week ago, a month ago, may not be true for you anymore. Some truths may stand and other truths may change, and all truths have to be addressed. They have to be adjusted to face reality, because we have the environment, we have the others, we have the crowd, we have the group, we have the leaders, we have people, we have the forces of nature, we have supernatural forces, forces beyond our control. We cannot control the weather, can we? We cannot stop the hurricane and the storm, can we? There are greater forces and energies that are outside of us that impact our lives as we face our truth In light of that, do you see how much or how little a grain of truth from those who are observing us? Do you see how little sometimes it matters? And this is why sometimes, within context, we can ignore it. We can ignore that grain of truth coming from suggestions and advice from others who do not know who we are, who do not understand why we are persevering, why we are doggedly, persistently, relentlessly pursuing that which is important to us, to our well-beings, to our families, to our relatives, to our friends, to our country. Yes. Since reality often changes, our personal truth will shift. Introspection deepens, and a grain of truth fades.